Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shawna Paterson and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 tips for building a new home. We just closed on our first new build semi-custom home where we chose the lot at the builder's sales center and then we chose our floor plan to go on the lot. We were able to tweak the plan very slightly. They called it structural upgrades, and then we were able to choose a lot of our design finishes. We documented our entire home building process from the foundations through the frame walk. It's been a really exciting process and throughout it all we learned so much. So now I'm here to share those tips with you. Tip number one, the very first thing you're gonna do is select your lot at the builder's sales center. So make sure you really pay attention where your lot's going. I really wanted a house that either had the backyard or the front door facing south to let in lots of natural light. So when we were at the builder's sales center, we specifically chose lots that were north and south facing because we knew that was really important to me. Make sure you do lots of research before you sign any contracts about what the city or towns are planning on building around that. You just want to be informed on potentially how long this development could be in the process of being under construction. Do you want to live in a construction zone for 5 to 10 years? They are planning on building grocery stores and retail developments and things like that. That's going to take many years. Or is it just a really short sort of small development that's only going to take 1 to 2 years to fully develop? So make sure you are informed when you make your purchase. And the sales center, you know, they're there to sell you things, so they're not necessarily going to want to deter you from everything, so they might sweeten things a little bit. So that's where you need to take your own judgment and do research on your own. You can type in future developments in so-and-so area and it should be able to bring you up some information on planning or site plan works that the city has developed. And so you're aware if they're planning on putting a hospital there, if you're going to be backing onto a park or a busy street in the future. One thing that we had to note was in our development, it's actually going to be a main artery road. Wanted to make sure that the lot that we chose wasn't facing that road because it's going to eventually turn into a big connector to get to the main crossroad street. So something to keep in mind when you're selecting your lot is to do the research of what's to come, because your lot might be on a piece of barren land right now, but you don't know what's going to be there in the future. Tip number two is there are lots of hidden design upgrades at the design center, at least we found with our builder. So make sure you take your time at the design appointments and really ask a lot of questions. When we selected our builder, I went online and I found different forums of people talking about what they had upgraded to give me a list of ideas to sort of ask if it wasn't brought up at the design center appointment. It actually worked out in our favor because there was a few items that were hidden upgrades. One of them being like our shower door handle. They didn't mention anything about that, but having done the research beforehand and someone mentioning it in one of the forums, I knew to bring it up. So we actually upgraded the standard door handle on the shower glass enclosure. That was supposed to be a little tiny knob, so it would be like opening it like this, and we actually upgraded it to more of a U-shaped D handle, they call it. And there's a lot to go through, so it's a bit overwhelming, but make sure to ask lots of questions. See if you can find someone who has worked with your builder before or purchased a home with them. They might have some input on some of the things that they came across. And it also doesn't hurt to just ask your builder if there was something that you saw on Pinterest or something like that that you want incorporated into the build. We had asked our builder if we could do one of those niche cutouts inside of the shower stall, hold our shampoo bottles and stuff, but it wasn't something that they offered. Doesn't hurt in asking. Tip number three, pay attention to your reflected ceiling plan. That essentially means the ceiling plan where all your lighting is going, because one issue that we ran into was the ceiling light over our stairs was perfectly centered on the ceiling. So when you looked at it on the plan, it looked like it was centered, but it wasn't actually centered over the stairs, which was a bit offset from where the the stairs wasn't in the very center of the room, if you get what I'm saying. So the light fixture that was supposed to hang over the stairwell wasn't actually hanging over the stairwell, it was just centered in the ceiling space. And then we had to end up paying an electrician who was installing our pot lights. They were fortunately able to move the electrical. We paid them to move it and they centered it so that we're able to hang a chandelier that's centered over our staircase and it looked a little bit nicer. Tip number four is for plumbing fixtures. So we decided to take the builder's basic plumbing fixtures throughout our house, and for the sinks and for the vanity sinks we just assumed that because they were a single lever handle that it would be a single hole faucet, so we could just switch it out afterwards with a single hole faucet. It wasn't until we went to go switch it out that it was actually 3 holes. So we had to return the faucets that we had bought to swap out, try and get ones that had matching deck plates to cover the little 3 holes so that we could just put a single hole faucet. You know, there's lots of details when you're building your house, and that is just one of them I would suggest to pay attention to if you are planning on doing some upgrades afterwards. And the same thing applied to our shower fixtures, which we were aware of, but just something to keep in mind. So the builder installed mowing Moen shower fixtures. In order to replace those, you have to replace them with another Moen product. There's compatibility issues with the plumbing that's inside of the wall. So if you wanted to just change it out to any shower stack, you can't do that without most of the time ripping out the tile work and the drywall and completely ruining your shower just to get the new shower stack in there, because it's the plumbing components that are behind the wall. So when we wanted to upgrade our shower fixtures after we took possession of the house, we had to choose a Moen fixture to be compatible with the hardware. My next tip might be self-explanatory, but just stand up for yourself with the builder and make sure you know what your rights are and what you agreed to in your contract. We ran into an issue that the builder wasn't able to give us a frame walk because of their protocols that they had in place at the time because of the pandemic. So they were just going to not give us a frame walk. We pushed to have them do a FaceTime frame walk with us so that we were still able to see the house and see all the plumbing behind the walls and the electrical and go through all those kind of specs. Really pushed for that, and they were able to accommodate us. They did do a FaceTime. They had one of the builders carry the camera around, and the other main builder gave us a tour of our house, but we wouldn't have gotten that if we didn't push for it. If they are not able to provide those things to you, try and find other ways that you can both be agreeable to the terms. Throughout the process, we would find mistakes in our home. Issue where the electrical was on the wrong side of the kitchen island counter, put in like HVAC vent in the wrong location. It was like in the center of the room. It was really weird. So we told them about it right away. It's easier for them to fix things while the home is still under construction before it's closed, because once you're in it, it's a bit harder for them to just be able to come in whenever their trades have availability. So whenever we found an issue, we would tell the builder right away. It's a big project. There's lots of moving pieces. There's bound to be mistakes. My next tip is one for the design center. So when you're picking your finishes, take your finishes and hold them up to a window so you get some nice direct sunlight on that, or take it outside if there's no windows in the design center, so you're able to see it in lots of different lighting. They might have incandescent light or more yellowy tone lights, but in your home in the morning in direct sunlight, the finishes might look completely different, because usually at the design center you're holding up the finish vertically and the lighting is not going to hit it the same way. Lay that finish on the floor so you really see how the light's going to hit it, and then you can make your final call on that. Specifically for flooring, when you're choosing hardwoods, the natural light is going to reflect off that finish differently, so I would suggest that you definitely take into account natural lighting and the different lighting tones that you have, so you're able to pick a finish that you know you're going to love. My next tip is to determine what's going to be more cost effective to do after you take possession of the house as opposed to upgrading it with the builder. There was quite a few things that we did our research with beforehand so that we were able to know accurate, realistic pricing for these upgrades. A lot of the times the builder does charge a premium for the upgrade, so you want to know what's realistic and what's worth it. Some things are worth it. By the time you pay for the contractor, the building materials, and any sort of labor that way, it might just be a wash and it might just be worth it to upgrade with the builder. A lot of things like structural upgrades, that's really important to just do with the builder. It's a headache to do afterwards, but some cosmetic things you can do yourself. We chose to do our backsplash ourselves, and we actually chose to do our countertops ourselves as well. So the builder was charging us almost $8,000 to upgrade our included countertops to the nice marble look quartz that we wanted. So we went around and got a few quotes from different contractors and kitchen design places, and we're able to actually get what we wanted for half the cost. To demolish the existing countertop, install the new countertop. It included a nice new sink as well, which we would have had to upgrade in the design center. So overall, it was definitely worth it for us to upgrade our countertop after the design center. So you can still ask for pricing at the design center because it might be worthwhile with the design center. It really fluctuates. The material that we wanted was a really top tier level, so they were definitely charging a premium for that. Another tip is to raise your vanity height. Standard bathroom vanity height is actually about 30 to 32 inches, and a raised vanity, which was an upgrade with our builder, raises it to about kitchen counter height, which is about 36 inches. I think this upgrade makes a huge difference. Way nicer, especially for resale value, to have that increased vanity height. It's something you don't think about, but all the model homes that you go through are going to have those raised vanities, and the shorter vanity height is really quite inconvenient to keep on bending over your sink while you're brushing your teeth, and it's definitely an inexpensive upgrade, but it's worth it, definitely. The next tip is that during the framing stage, you should take lots of pictures of the walls. It's really helpful to know where the HVAC and plumbing is run so that you don't have to be concerned about hitting it potentially when you're hanging up objects on the wall. It also gives you a better idea of stud spacing, so I went around, took lots of pictures. I also took a video video as well. So I could pause the video wherever we were hanging something up and we'd know sort of where the stud started. And if you have the opportunity of knowing what's behind the walls, you might as well take advantage of it. And the last and final tip is some more design upgrade tips. This one is a good idea to check with your builder because every builder is different and has different pricing and different options. But we chose to upgrade our interior doors to a modern 5-panel door, which was really inexpensive to upgrade through our builder. And we also opted to change all the interior hardware to a nice black matte lever door handle. And it was pretty much the same price if you were to go to Home Depot and buy that lever and install yourself, but it also included all the door hinges were also turned black as well, which would be just a nightmare to have to change out yourself for every single door in the house. And it was actually really nice. Our builder knew that we were upgrading it, so all the little accessories on the interior of the house, they also made matte black as well. So like the little door stoppers, as well as the interior side of our front door handle, they actually made that black as well, which was amazing. Same with our garage door entry system, they made that black. It was just those little details that really put the wow factor in it. We weren't expecting that, so we were really happy about that, because even though we just paid for the lever handle upgrade, it came with so much more. Just assumed that, oh well, that's how it's gonna be, but they paid attention to that small detail and were able to give us the rest of the matching black hardware as well. Things like lighting fixtures, paint colors, and window coverings is definitely something that you're gonna want to do afterward. It's generally a lot more cost effective. You have a lot more options to choose from, and it's a way to save money and get the look that you desire if you do that after the fact. So that is all the tips I have to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're interested in seeing any of our home build process, I'll link all the videos down below. There's also a playlist up on my channel. If you guys have any questions about a home build process, or you guys are going through it yourselves, make sure to leave a comment down below and I'll try to get back to it. You can also DM me on Instagram. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me in the future, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!